Imagine waking up with the awareness that today could be your last, not in fear, but in clarity. Imagine how present you would be, how focused, how grateful. This is not fantasy. This is a Stoic reality. Marcus Aurelius, emperor of Rome and philosopher of resilience, practiced this daily. He called it Memento Mori, remember that you must die, and not as a morbid whisper, but as a fire that fuels every action. Today, we rediscover that fire. Death is not in the future, it walks beside you. We walk through life as if time is infinite, as if tomorrow is guaranteed. But Marcus Aurelius saw the truth. Every breath we take is borrowed, every heartbeat a fleeting gift. Death is not an endpoint that appears suddenly one day. It is a constant shadow, walking quietly beside us from birth. To live with power, one must live with this awareness, not in dread, but in discipline. When you realize that death is always with you, everything changes. Petty arguments seem foolish, regrets shrink, fear loses its grip. Why fear failure, embarrassment, or judgment when the final silence draws closer with every sunset? Marcus didn't waste energy fearing what was inevitable. Instead, he used death's presence as a reason to act boldly in the now. Most people waste time as if they have a lifetime in reserve, but you don't own time. You only experience it. An experience can be taken from you in an instant, a sudden illness, a car crash, a silent heart that chooses not to beat again. The Stoics did not fear these truths, they embraced them, because only with death in mind can you truly come alive. Marcus Aurelius urged himself daily, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. This is not a threat, it's a compass. When you hold that awareness close, every interaction becomes more sacred. Every choice becomes more meaningful. Every moment gains weight and brilliance. Living with death beside you is not about sadness. It's about intensity. It's about removing the fog of illusion. The illusion that we have time to waste. The illusion that we can delay our purpose. When death is your companion, you don't procrastinate. You don't wait to say, I love you. You don't postpone your best self. We must stop treating life like a rehearsal. There is no encore. This is the performance. Right now. What would change if you knew the curtain might fall at any moment? Would you hesitate? Or would you speak, create, forgive, act? The Stoic warrior does not delay because he knows the clock cannot be bargained with. When we remember death, we stop obsessing over things we cannot control. What someone said, what we didn't get, how others perceive us, these vanish in the face of mortality. Death humbles our pride and dissolves our vanity. And in that space, peace is born. Living with death close by also sharpens your values. Would you waste your last hour chasing money, arguing online, trying to impress strangers, or would you seek connection, create something that matters, or sit in stillness and gratitude? You already know the answer, you've always known, you just needed the clarity. Marcus did not wish for death, but he did not flinch from it either. He used it. He allowed it to filter his thoughts and guide his actions. We must do the same. The awareness of death is not a reason to fear. It is the reason to live wisely, fully, and without apology. Death walks beside you, not as an enemy, but as a reminder. It does not rob you of life. It shows you the urgency of living. Let that nearness awaken you. Let it focus your mind and fuel your purpose. Remember, you do not walk toward death, you walk with it, and because of that, you walk with power. Time is a loan, not a guarantee. Time is the most misunderstood possession we have. We treat it like a bank account with unlimited funds, casually withdrawing hours for trivial pursuits, believing the balance will never run out. But Marcus Aurelius saw through this illusion. He recognized that each moment is not owned, it is borrowed, and borrowed time must always be returned. Think of your time as a loan from the universe. You don't know the terms. You don't know when repayment will be due, and yet, many live as though they've been given an eternal lease. They waste hours on distractions, on bitterness, on things that do not bring growth. but the Stoic does not dare take time for granted. He knows its true cost. Marcus warned us not to waste life speculating about others, chasing pleasures, or being ruled by emotion. Why? Because all these are interest charges on your limited loan. Each day given is one less you'll ever see again. You cannot buy more. You cannot earn it back. The only thing you can do with time is honor it by living deliberately. Look around. How many people are alive but not truly living? They postpone joy, delay purpose, defer greatness to someday. But someday is a ghost. It does not exist. The Stoic seizes today because he knows it may be his last installment of time. He doesn't demand more. He simply uses what he has with focus and respect. To understand the value of time is to be free from waste. Marcus wrote, "You act like mortals in all that you fear, and like immortals in all that you desire." The paradox is clear. We panic over small things, but live as if we have endless time to pursue what matters. A wise man inverts this. He fears wasting time, not losing status or possessions. The present moment is the only certainty you will ever have. The past is untouchable. The future is unknowable. So why do we constantly trade the now for later? Why do we say, "I'll start tomorrow," when tomorrow is not guaranteed? The Stoic lives in today. He does not plan his life around fantasies. He acts within the real. Time, once spent, leaves no evidence except consequence. The choices you make now will echo. They will either build you or erode you. Each moment is a brick. What are you building? A fortress of character, or a crumbling structure of regret? We must train ourselves to value time like a dying man. A man who knows his days are numbered doesn't waste hours on resentment or gossip. He moves with clarity. He forgives quickly. He focuses on what matters. That is the posture of a Stoic, calm, intentional, urgent without panic. When you accept that time is alone, not a guarantee, your priorities align. Distractions lose their grip, goals sharpen, gratitude deepens. You no longer wait for the perfect time because you realize this right now is the perfect time. The only time, so leave today with the precision of a borrower repaying his final debt. Make it count, make it honorable. Use your words wisely, your actions purposefully, and your attention like gold. Because when the loan is called in, and it will be, the Stoic will not beg for more. He will nod with peace, knowing he lived with awareness and used the loan well. Strip away the unnecessary. Life is heavy not because it must be, but because we burden ourselves with what doesn't matter. Marcus Aurelius understood that peace is found not through addition, but through subtraction. If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. In a world full of noise, a Stoic becomes powerful by living simply and with intent. Strip away the need to be liked. Strip away the obsession with appearance, approval, and applause. These things are external. They are out of your control. Marcus taught that the wise man focuses only on what is within his power, his thoughts, his actions, and his character. All else is distraction. We hoard emotions, grievances, worries about the future, regrets about the past. Each one adds weight to the soul, but the Stoic is light. He travels through life unburdened by what he cannot change. He knows that to carry everything is to carry nothing well. Ask yourself, as Marcus did, is this necessary? This one question can clear your mind like a sharp wind through a cluttered room. That argument. Unnecessary, that resentment, unnecessary, that fear of what others think, deeply unnecessary. Let it all fall away, and what remains is strength. Simplicity is not emptiness, it is clarity. It means choosing what matters and discarding what doesn't. Your energy is finite, your time is limited. Every moment spent on something trivial is stolen from something meaningful. A Stoic knows how to say no to others and to himself. The unnecessary isn't just physical, it's emotional and mental. Worry is unnecessary, envy is unnecessary, even hope, if it delays action, is unnecessary. Marcus did not leave room in his heart for illusions. He cut through them with reason, and in their absence he found serenity. We are conditioned to accumulate things, followers, opinions, obligations. But what we accumulate, we must then maintain, and the more you must maintain, the more distracted you become. The Stoic does not accumulate. He curates. He selects what serves virtue and discards what does not. Some think stripping away means giving up, but it's the opposite, it's rising up. It is clearing the battlefield of the mind so the true warrior can stand. Simplicity is not minimalism for aesthetic's sake. It is strategic clarity. It is removing what dulls the sword. Marcus Aurelius lived as emperor of the most powerful empire on earth, and yet he practiced simplicity. He wore plain robes. He avoided excess. He reminded himself that even a palace is just a place where people sleep. His greatness came not from what he had, but from what he chose not to need. Strip away the unnecessary. Not tomorrow, today. Examine your thoughts, your habits, your attachments. Cut what is not essential to your purpose. What will remain is the core of who you are, pure, undistracted, unshakable. That is where peace lies. That is where the Stoic finds his strength. Let gratitude guide your gaze. Gratitude is not weakness. It is not softness. It is not naivety. To the Stoic, gratitude is power. It is clarity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love." Gratitude grounds you in what matters and shields you from the temptation of dissatisfaction. The man who lives as if each day were his last does not take the sun for granted. He notices the warmth on his skin, the air in his lungs, the silence in the morning. Gratitude is not reserved for big victories. It is cultivated through the smallest details. To notice is to honor life. To give thanks is to live fully. Without gratitude, the mind wanders toward what is missing. It compares, complains, and covets. It sees what others have and forgets what it already possesses. But the Stoic understands this is blindness. Comparison is a thief. Entitlement is poison. Only the grateful see clearly. You do not control how long you live. You do not control the storms of life. But you do control where you place your attention. Marcus placed his on what remained, not on what was lost. In pain, he found strength. In scarcity, he found sufficiency. Gratitude turned limitation into freedom. The world today moves fast. Gratitude slows it down. It brings you back to now, not the illusions of when I get more, but the truth of what I already have. A Stoic warrior trains his mind to see blessings in hardship, not just in comfort. For even suffering can contain gift, growth, humility, insight. To be grateful is not to be passive. It does not mean you stop striving. It means you strive from a place of fullness, not emptiness. You act not out of desperation, but out of appreciation for the chance to act at all. Gratitude shifts your pursuit from frantic to focused. The Stoic does not wake up angry at the world. He wakes up amazed that he woke up at all, that life chose him for another day, another chance, another breath. He does not complain about what went wrong. He thanks life for giving him the strength to endure. Gratitude builds resilience. It becomes armor against bitterness. When others are broken by loss, the Stoic bends but does not break. Because even in grief, he can be grateful for what was shared. Even in failure, he can be thankful for the lesson. This is not emotion. It is philosophy in action. When you allow gratitude to guide your gaze, you move with grace. You speak with kindness. You become less reactive, more reflective. Gratitude humbles the ego and elevates the soul. It reminds you you are not owed anything, and yet you have so much. Let gratitude guide your gaze. Let it reframe your burdens into blessings. Let it teach you to see not just with your eyes, but with your heart. Because when life ends, and it will, the only regret is not how little you had, but how little you noticed. See now, appreciate now, live now, act without delay. Every second you hesitate, life slips further from your grasp. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. There is no time to waste. The Stoic knows that action is not a luxury, it is a duty. To delay is to disrespect the life you've been given. Procrastination is a subtle form of arrogance. It assumes there will be more time, more chances, more tomorrows. But tomorrow is not promised to anyone. The Stoic does not lean on the illusion of later. He moves now with purpose and precision. He acts not because he has to, but because he understands the cost of inaction. Often we wait for motivation before beginning, but Marcus knew that action must precede inspiration. He wrote, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work." As a human being, discipline is not about feeling ready. It's about being loyal to your duty, no matter how you feel. The mind will create endless reasons to wait. It's not the right time. I'm not prepared. I'll start after this or that. But each excuse is a chain, tying you to stagnation. The Stoic breaks those chains through motion. Start where you are, with what you have. Perfection is the enemy of progress. There is a violence in delay, not just in what you miss, but in what you become. The more you delay, the more you train your mind to avoid discomfort. And each day that passes, you become more passive, more reactive, less sovereign. The Stoic sharpens his will through immediate action. Even small steps become swords. We must remind ourselves daily, what if today was the last day to take that leap, to fix that relationship, to speak your truth? Would you still wait? Death laughs at hesitation. Life rewards boldness. When the Stoic moves, he moves without apology, because he knows that waiting is a gamble and the stakes are everything. Action carves identity. Every decision, every movement, shapes who you are becoming. You are not what you intend to do. You are what you do. The Stoic understands that philosophy without execution is just decoration. It is motion that transforms theory into truth. Fear often sits at the root of delay. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of discomfort. But Marcus reminds us, it is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live. The Stoic does not wait for fear to vanish. He acts despite it, and in doing so, he dissolves it. There is a fire that comes from living with urgency, not panic, but presence. It sharpens the senses. It anchors the soul. When you move with immediacy, you see time as sacred. You speak only what needs to be said. You do only what matters. The unnecessary is burned away in the heat of action. Act without delay, because life does not pause for your readiness. Act with courage. Act with clarity. Even if you fail, you will fail forward. Even if you stumble, you will move, and that movement, imperfect but sincere, is what separates the philosopher from the spectator, the warrior from the worrier, the Stoic from the sleepwalker. Virtue is the only legacy. When all is stripped away, your possessions, your name, your body, what remains? Marcus Aurelius answered this clearly. Your virtue, not your wealth, not your followers, not your titles. What survives you is the moral weight of your actions. Virtue is the only legacy that time cannot erode. You may never control how the world remembers you, but you can control how you live today. The Stoic does not chase reputation. He builds character. He focuses on being just, courageous, temperate, and wise. Not because it makes him look good, but because it makes him good. Marcus held the most powerful seat in the world, yet he wrote daily about humility, service, and self-restraint. He knew that power without virtue is emptiness. A palace is not worth more than a prison if the soul inside is corrupt. A poor man with integrity leaves a richer legacy than a king without it. The legacy of virtue is not etched in stone. It is written in lives touched, in wrongs righted. in moments of courage shown when it was easier to stay silent. A Stoic's life may go unnoticed by history, but it is felt deeply by those around him. That is the measure of a true legacy. We obsess over how to be remembered, but we forget that remembrance is earned through living rightly, not loudly. Marcus taught that legacy is a byproduct of daily discipline. You don't leave virtue behind, you carry it forward, moment by moment, choice by choice. You cannot fake virtue. You may fool others for a while, but not your conscience. The Stoic measures himself not by applause, but by inner alignment. Is my action just? Is my thought clean? Is my intent noble? These are the questions that matter long after the world forgets your name. Wealth may be inherited, fame may be bought, but virtue is forged. It is tested in silence, under pressure, when no one is watching. And those are the moments that echo long after your voice is gone. Because real strength is remembered, not because it shouted, but because it stood firm when it mattered most. The world will try to seduce you with external legacies, fame, status, trends, but these are shadows. The Stoic builds what cannot be taken away: self, command, truthfulness, fairness. These are not glamorous. They are not marketable, but they are eternal. Marcus didn't care for monuments. He cared for meaning. He didn't seek to be worshipped. He sought to be useful. And that's the wisdom we must reclaim today. Live, so that your life becomes a quiet testament to integrity, not a loud campaign for recognition. Virtue is the only legacy that death cannot touch. Your character is the message you leave behind, written not in ink, but in the lives you influence and the example you set. So ask yourself daily, am I living in a way that I'd be proud to leave behind? If the answer is yes, then you are already immortal in the ways that matter most. Embrace the present like a warrior. The past is ash. The future is mist. Only the present stands firm beneath your feet. Marcus Aurelius knew this deeply. Confine yourself to the present. He wrote, reminding us that all strength, all power, all clarity lives in the now. To live well, a Stoic must not simply accept the present. He must seize it like a warrior. Warriors don't drift. They do not meander through moments. They dominate them. They are focused, alert, and grounded. When you live like a warrior, you treat each second as a battlefield. You don't worry about yesterday's wounds or tomorrow's fears. You engage fully in the fight of today. The modern mind is scattered. It is seduced by distraction. It chases what ifs and what was, but the Stoic mind is disciplined. It stays where life happens, right here. Marcus didn't allow himself to be pulled into illusion. He stood firmly in the present, knowing that all he controlled, all he influenced, was this moment. The present is not passive. It demands your full attention. You must show up to this moment like it's your only chance, because it is. The Stoic does not waste time waiting for better conditions. He acts now, loves now, leads now. He moves not with haste, but with total presence. To live in the present is not to ignore the past or future. It is to know their place, learn from the past, plan for the future, but live now. Worry and regret are thieves of presence. The Stoic feels them, acknowledges them, and then releases them, because they have no power in the current moment unless he gives it. Warriors train not to fight someday, but to be ready now. The same is true for your spirit. Don't wait to become who you're meant to be. Become it now in this hour. Don't wait to be kind, be it now. Don't wait to rise above your fear. Rise now. Every delay is a victory for weakness. Marcus Aurelius believed the present moment was sacred, not because of what it offered, but because of what it required. It is the forge of the soul. Every trial, every opportunity, every encounter is a chance to act with virtue or to fall to vice. There is no neutral ground. Every moment is a test and a gift. When you live fully in the present, you live without waste. You speak with intention. You listen with depth. You work with focus. You rest with gratitude. The present is not a hallway between destinations. It is the destination The Stoic plants both feet in it and draws his sword. Too many spend life preparing to live, but the Stoic sees preparation as living itself. He trains every day not for the distant future, but for the next breath. Presence is not a mood, it is a discipline. You must practice it, choose it, protect it. And when you do, you reclaim power over your time, your energy, and your mind. Embrace the present like a warrior. Stand in it, own it, act within it as if it were your final stand, because it just might be. Let others sleepwalk through their days. You were not born for drifting. You were born for presence, born for battle. And the battlefield is now. To die each day is to live forever. The Stoics spoke often of death, but not just the final one. They practiced dying daily, letting parts of themselves go: ego, anger, pride, illusion. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive." But before rising, the Stoic must first die to who he was yesterday. Each day is a small death, a shedding of what no longer serves. The opinions that weighed you down, the mistakes that haunted you, the habits that weakened you. The Stoic sees sleep not just as rest, but as rehearsal. He rises reborn, with a mind sharpened by reflection and a soul cleansed by letting go. To die daily is not pessimism, it is purification. It is a way of keeping the soul light and the mind clear. Imagine carrying every regret, every anger, every failure from every day of your life. The weight would crush you. The Stoic lays it down at the end of each day and picks up only what is essential. This practice demands courage. It means confronting the self honestly, not hiding behind excuses, not defending mediocrity. The Stoic looks himself in the mirror and asks, "What did I do wrong? What did I do right? Where did I fall short?" Then he learns, then he lets go, then he becomes new. To die daily is to remove decay from the soul. Jealousy gone, blame burned, laziness buried. The Stoic does not wait for a second chance at life. He creates it every morning. He knows that to truly live, he must make peace with constant renewal, with constant death and constant rebirth. This is not dramatic. It is disciplined, a quiet ritual of the mind. The warrior lays down at night not just to rest, but to reflect. And in that reflection, he cuts away the unnecessary, the toxic, the false. He trims the soul like a swordsmith refining his blade, again and again, until only what is pure remains. Living this way removes fear of death. Why fear what you rehearse every day? Why fear losing what you've already released? The Stoic dies 1,000 times before his final breath, and when that breath comes, he meets it with calm, not surprise. He has practiced his whole life for that moment, and in dying daily, something strange happens. You begin to live more fully. You no longer postpone your truth. You speak more clearly. You love more deeply. You create more urgently. The fear of death dissolves, and in its place rises the joy of presence, the intensity of a soul that has nothing left to prove. To die each day is to treat life as sacred. Each dawn is not just another day. It is a new life. The past does not bind you. The future does not distract you. You begin again, and in that beginning you are free. Clean, light, alive in the truest sense. So do not wait to begin living. Die to who you were. Die to fear, to ego, to regret. And from that death, rise into life. Because when you practice dying every day, you practice living forever. Not in years, but in depth, not in fame, but in presence. That is the way of the Stoic. That is the way of the immortal. Remember this, Memento Mori is not about dying. It's about living intensely, fully. Wisely, boldly, like Marcus Aurelius, you must not fear the end. You must fear never truly beginning. So live today, not someday. Speak your truth, do your duty, love those around you, because this day is not ordinary. It might be your last, and that is exactly what makes it eternal.